they want a shot at the UFC at some point. Is that a dream? Is that a dream for you as well?
I think it's like that. That's like the Premier League of mixed martial arts, or the Champions League of mixed martial arts. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think everyone has a dream of being a UFC champion, because I think in their head it solidifies them as the best in the world. You know what I mean?
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.
Oh my days. What do we have here? We have Mr. Nathan Kelly over here in the house. Thank you very much for joining us. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. It took us a little while to try and put this interview together, but because of scheduling on both sides, we weren't able to put it together early enough. But we're here. That's the main thing.
Finally.
We're here, and we're here with Mr. Nathan Kelly, man. How you doing, my bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Still in good spirits from the last fight. Just enjoying eating food. You know what I mean? Not being in a camp, like, you know what I mean. Had 5 camps in a row, so I was on a strict kind of diet for a long time. So now I'm still tapping away, doing bits of training, but I'm having fun with the food, definitely.
Oh my God. I mean, we were talking off here just before we came on, and I just kind of asked, just just to get something. I said, what did you follow any football team? And the man says he got a surprise for me when we go live. And look what he's got on. He's a gooner, people. He's an Arsenal fan. And as soon as I saw, I was so excited. I was so gassed. I was like, no, man, you know what? You made my day with this one, man. You know what I mean? I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So before we go into any of the football talk, we're going to touch on that later on in the show.
That's fair.
But before we go, let's talk about your career a little bit. You're featherweight 140. You fight in the 145 division.
Yeah.
And you train out of SBG in Ireland, and you have a 6-2 professional record.
Yeah.
And you have wins in Bellator and PFL as well. And coming off a first round rear naked choke against Ben Ellis, one of your most recent wins.
Yeah.
Riding a 6-fight win streak it's not easy thing to do in the fight game. I mean, one fight win streak too. It's not easy to put streaks together.
Yeah.
How does that improve your confidence, and how's that lifted your confidence getting into the octagon and doing what you do best?
Yeah, well, so let's say, for example, right, I'm 2 fights in of the streak. I'm feeling good, you know what I mean? But I know I'm not quite there yet, you know what I mean? 3 fights in, all right, I'm getting somewhere, 4 fights in, confidence is getting a bit, you know what I mean? It's building. 5 fights in, it's starting to flow out of me, and then 6 fights in now, I just feel like, especially after my last performance, like the confidence is just running through me, because I know I don't even have to talk shit, but if I did talk shit, like, I'd be backing it all up, you know what I mean? Because of the performance I'm putting in. But yeah, the confidence is grown. It's grown, and each fight it's grown, and like, once I keep a hold of it, you know what I mean, and use it for the right reasons, I don't see why I'll go anywhere but the top, you know what I mean?
Fantastic. Like I said earlier on, you have experience in fighting in Bellator, and now you're signed with PFL. What are the different experiences that you've got with both promotions, and what are the pros and cons for you in terms of your experience with both promotions?
It's like, let me think. I think in terms of like the fight week and everything like that, it's more or less the same. You know what I mean? You arrive to the hotel, check in, check your way. In terms of background stuff, there's not much difference. I just feel because I got a taste of the PFL, the routine, basically, I feel like they do a lot more promotional stuff with their fighters. You know what I mean? They're kind of always, they have someone recording, uploading content and stuff like that. So I think they're on the ball with their PR and their media. That's just from my experience. So I think they're really good with it, and they really help push you. They're always on the ball with all the photos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're really direct and quick with it. You know what I mean? So we have all of it at our fingertips and ready to use for our own profile, so we can try build our profile as well as the promotions profile in Europe. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel is the difference for me between PFL and Bellator, from doing both. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Because when you look at the what they have available for you in terms of performance institute as well, where you guys get to, do your training and get yourself together during camp to help you build towards the fight. Is there a better one than the other with PFL or Bellator? What's the
So,
performance institute like?
and what do you mean by that? Sorry, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I mean, with the performance institute and where you guys put your work together going into fights, and that is there a better way? Is there a better way for you guys to deal with the performance institute, like better training facilities, if that makes sense, between
Um,
both of them? Or is it just on par? Are they both
See,
on par?
we don't really get training facilities per se. Like I kind of just train in my gym, but whenever you go to
Got
the
you.
hotel or whatever the week before or the week of it, they do up a little pad room for you, so they'll throw down mats and stuff. But every kind of organization is the same. There's not really much difference. They'll throw down the mats, make sure everyone has a place to warm up and train during the week and stuff like that. But there's no real Bellator or UFC performance institutes around. The UFC Institute and stuff like that is out in America, obviously, but
Yeah.
right, and obviously in China and stuff like that, and Dubai, all that stuff. But I think we're a while away, yeah, from one in Europe. But in terms of
Got you.
PFL and Bellator, there's no institutes for them, so it's just up to us to put the work in the gym and just let our results show on the night. You know what I mean?
Makes a lot of sense now, because I didn't think that was the case. How big those promotions are as well. Well, as a fan, in my mind,
Yeah.
you'd think that they have something like that for you fighters, but fighting out of your own gyms and putting the work in, throwing mats down for you guys is still a way of getting you guys to do your thing. But maybe down the line, something like
Hopefully,
that's gonna come up
be
for
nice to have
fighters.
something like that. Yeah, it'd be nice to have something like that.
Yeah,
Good high
fantastic.
facility place, like.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you as well. I mean, you as a fighter, and I speak to a lot of your colleagues, and I mean MMA fighters in
Yeah.
general. A lot of them, they want a shot at the UFC at some point. Is that a dream? Is that a dream for you as well?
I think it's like that. That's like the Premier League of mixed martial arts, or the Champions League of mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? I think everyone has a dream of being a UFC champion, because I think in their head it solidifies them as the best in the world. You know what I mean? But for now, I'm like, obviously that's like a childhood dream you would have, but for now, I'm just, the dream I have is to try win this PFL money. You know what I mean? And I think that's the sight I have now at the minute. You know what I mean? And that's the clearest goal that I can achieve. So I wanna achieve that. In doing so, earn more experience from fighting, and then obviously later on in my career, I'll probably decide what to do. But I really am committed now to try win that million in PFL. I think I'll get through the European series.
Yeah.
I plan on going through everyone in that, and then taking it to the US stage, and then trying to basically cement me authority in the US. You know what I mean? And try win that million.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we're gonna be rooting for you all the way, and hope you're laughing all the way to the bank by the
So do
time
I.
by the time you get to the end of it. It's gonna be fascinating, and it's something that secures you and your family. 100% going forward in your career as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's the main reason why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Partially because I love the sport as well, but partially because, you know what I mean, I want to give those around me a better life, and make everything a bit easier for us.
Yeah, as do you. I wanted to ask you, and you just spoke about, why you're in this sport, because you want to give your family a better life. Obviously, we know you love the sport. If you don't love the sport, you can't even be engaged in it and have the amount of success that you have in it.
Yeah.
But what keeps you grounded, in a sport like this, where wins can get to your head, and you could be on cloud nine and not even worry about certain opponents, and who's actually watching you. What keeps you grounded? What keeps you motivated? What keeps your anchor down?
What I think keeps me humble, like I've tasted defeat already. You know what I mean? My first two pro fights, I lost my first two pro fights, and it was an experience in itself, because you know what I mean. As soon as you hit pro, this life is it's everything to you. You know what I mean? And when you like mess up your first two fights, go 0-2, like it can be very deflating. You know what I mean? So I don't really think there's a point in me getting too big headed or anything like that, because you know what I mean. I could lose one day, and then straight away all that arrogance and cockiness that maybe I would have brought out is just gone like that. You know what I mean? Because like, who am I? I got humbled. You know what I mean? So I just prefer to keep my head down and just not cause too much trouble. Obviously, I'm confident. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be doing this unless I was confident. You know what I mean? And I'm
That's right.
confident in my skills, but in terms of like me getting lost with my thoughts because of how good I am as a fighter, you know what I mean? It's not something that I'm really keen on, you know what I mean? And I think no matter what happens at the end of the day, I'm just a normal lad who like will go to bed, wake up and have his breakfast, you know what I mean? Like, and walk the dogs, whatever else goes with it, you know what I mean? Get
Yeah.
my heart broken by Arsenal every year, you know what I mean? I'm just a normal lad, so like I don't really. Maybe I will now. Maybe I'm talking shit, but I just don't see myself ever getting to that point of big headedness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so important in this sort of sport, because it takes it takes a second for all of it to go away. So you definitely got the right mindset there. Talking about UFC, and maybe one day trying to get up there, as you rightly said. It's like the Champions League or the Premier League of the MMA game. What would your dream matchup be? It's just say magic one, you're there, your dream matchup. Well, in UFC, what would that look like? What would that be?
Who would that be? Actually, that's a tough question. I'm a bit heavier than him, but I would have liked to have a rattle off TJ Dillashaw.
Ooh.
I'd like to have a rattle off him. I think he's a good striker. He's good at mixing everything up, but he has that fighter in him. He's tough, you know what I mean? But then again, he's a juice head, so I don't know. I don't know if I would go that route. Volkanovski as well. I actually really like Volkanovski. He's my weight, you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
he's a smaller guy, but he has that heart and that fight in him. That's just, you know what I mean? When you think he's out, he's back in again and he's winning the fight. You know what I mean? Like that
Mm.
Ortega guillotine that time. That was
Oh,
the purest example of that. You know what I mean? The fella
yeah.
has no quitting him. So he'd be good to fight, because that's such a good challenging fight, because it's about who's gonna go the heaviest, or who's gonna quit first. When obviously I wouldn't be one to just take the easy way out. So that would be an interesting one, I think. Back and forth action, yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, we know PFL has just signed one of UFC star
Yeah,
in Burgos,
Shane
and
Burgos, yeah.
you guys happen to be in the same weight class. So
Yeah.
at some point down the line, it looks like, could you guys be meeting? Would you like to welcome him into PFL? Like,
I'd see, the thing is, I'll have to win the European series before I
yeah.
get a chance of going into the American series.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? I feel I will win the European series, so I think one day, you know what I mean, that possibility may happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I do break into this scene in the next year, in the American scene in the next year, then I'll be facing some tough competition. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'll have to pull the finger out and make sure to be getting stuck in with the training and just keep leveling up. So the day that comes when I do have to face that one of these like experienced legends or whatever like that, then I'll be well able for them. I'm a fighter anyway by heart. You know what I mean? So regardless of who's in front of me, I'm there to do a job. You know what I mean? As they are. So it's just about who can do the job better on the night. And on my night, I think I can take out anyone. You know what I mean?
Yep, got you. Your MMA journey. How did it begin, and which martial arts did you learn first?
Yeah, so it began because I used to play football actually, and I wasn't really wouldn't really get picked for the teams and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I was a hard worker on the pitch and a hard worker in training, but I just maybe wasn't skillfully there as much as some of the other lads. From a technical standpoint, and I just got sick of it. And I actually was playing the UFC PlayStation game, and I kind of was playing the career mode. I saw what training was involved. I ended up catching on to the Ultimate Fighter. Then I watched the 4 seasons of the Ultimate Fighter, and I was playing it, and I was like, I need to try this sport out, because I thought all the training, the cardio, the strength and conditioning, I thought that was all cool, as well as the grappling and the blending in of the strikes and stuff like that. But I ended up joining the club, my local club. It's only bleeding 10 minutes away from my house. Joined that. Me first class was a Muay Thai class, and I did it. And I actually went because I was more intrigued by jiu-jitsu and grappling. But my first class was a Muay Thai class, and literally I was 13 years old, and that first day I said to myself, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and I never looked back. But my main discipline would have been jiu-jitsu. I trained jiu-jitsu a lot from my teenagers right up. I still train jiu-jitsu actually. Like it's my main skill. We'll say I've trained that more over the last 12 or 13 years. So since I started getting into MMA, I've just looked at improving my striking, but and I have improved it enough to be confident enough that I can just stand and bang with someone if I wanted. You know what I mean? But in terms of my highest level skill, it's definitely jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
This is interesting, very interesting. What I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite fight that you've ever been involved in? It's a two-part question. The favorite fight that you've ever been involved in, and a favorite fight that you've actually sat down and watched that you enjoy for yourself.
Right. So favorite fight I've involved in has to be the last PFL fight there. I think I just think I put on a really, really good performance, you know what I mean? And with the pressure that was meant to be on me for this whole UFC, not UFC, ESPN slot, the fighting in the hometown lads, fighting in the Welsh hometown, you know what I mean? European qualifier spot, all that stuff. Like, I think to the untrained eye, it's all pressure, you know what I mean? But I just have a weird way of dealing with pressure, whereas, you know what I mean? When I got told I was on that ESPN slot, I swear to God, I was walking around like I ran Cardiff City, you know what I mean? When we were over there, and I was walking around as if I deserved to be on that spot, you know what I mean? So I kind of I took it on board as motivation, you know what I mean? And I fought on Bellator in Dublin in front of a busy crowd, so I know what it's like to fight in front of your own crowd when there's pressure on you to win in your home city. So I was hoping that he'd have that on him, and you know what I mean? I think he did. So to perform like that under the pressure we are meant to be under, you know what I mean? That was my most impressive win, the one I'm most happy with. And the one my favorite fight that I've watched. Do you know what? I'll name a few. Obviously, Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler. I loved John Jones.
Somebody mentioned that the other day. Somebody actually mentioned that the other day. Sam Creasy. Shout out to Sam Creasy.
That's one of my favorite fights to watch. Obviously, John Jones and Gustafsson. I think that was a brilliant fight back in the day. Who else?
The first one.
Yeah,
the first fight.
First one. Yeah. Obviously, Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner was a big one. What were that fights? Jesus, do you know what fight? Just because he pulled out the bag, and I was a big fan of him. Anderson Silva, when he bet Chael Sonnen with the triangle.
Whoa.
You know, because he was getting smashed, and he pulled out the triangle. I just love Anderson, you know what I mean? I thought he was a fucking legend, like, you know what I mean? Just his style was just unreal, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to see him lose a streak to Chael Sonnen. But I'm trying to. So many good fights. The McGregor Diaz too. That was a fucking belter of a fight.
That was a belter, wasn't it?
I could go on for days, man.
Yeah. We definitely get the picture now. I mean, there's a lot of good fights out there, and you know the Robbie Lawler Rory McDonald one definitely sticks out like a sore
See,
thumb.
that was such a good fight because of how like gritty and tough they were, stirring each other off even between rounds. And it was brilliant to watch. Honestly, two of them put everything on the line. You know what I mean? None of them held anything back. So, you know what I mean?
Those guys definitely left years of experience. They left years of experience left in the octagon, man.
They left years of health as well.
yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. What kind of influence does Conor McGregor have on you training at SBG in Ireland? Like, what influence him and his team as well? What do they have on you? Like the influence?
Yeah, well, when I was younger, obviously when Conor would have been breaking through, you know what I mean. That to me, at the time, the way he was doing it, the way he was calling out, it was very entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gave us the fact that he got through, and he opened the way for some Irish fighters to get through to main organizations. It gave me a lot of inspiration because I had all these big dreams and ambitions. You know what I mean? As a teenager, and the fact that he was able to like bring a bit of spotlight on Ireland as a country, you know what I mean, through mixed martial arts. That was a big deal for us, and us getting a bit of spotlight and showing like how good we are over here, you know what I mean. So I would have got a lot of motivation and inspiration from him from that. Obviously, when winning the titles and doing him accomplishing everything he's accomplished, you know what I mean. That's also inspiring, you know what I mean. Just from around the bleeding corner, you know what I mean. And you see a lad doing that, you know what I mean. There's no way I'm not going to take inspiration of it. He kind of gave me the hope of, like, you know what I mean. That's just like, he's only bleeding 20 minutes away in the car journey. That's where he's from, you know what I mean. So if he can do it, why can't I? You know what I mean. It just comes down to what work you put in. So I definitely took a lot from that, and you know what I mean, recognizing what it takes to get to the top and how hard you have to work to get there.
Yeah, fantastic. You said about wanting to get to that £1 million payday, right?
Yeah.
It's a big, because you fighters are prize fighters, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? You're not here to fight for free. You're here to fight for a prize. What's your take on fighters' pay in this day and age?
I don't really know, man, because like that, I'm only starting off. Obviously, the more experienced lads, they'll have their own opinion on it based off what they think they're worth. You know what I mean? But a lot of them are a bit on in their careers compared to me. So the ones that are kind of hitting out about it are obviously being underpaid for their experience and their skill level. Whereas I've yet to have an issue with pay based off my experience and skill level. You know what I mean? So, like, I think I'm on a decent contract now. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting paid. As long as I keep winning, it'll keep going up. So, you know, it's on me to keep performing and get myself into the position where I can start demanding more money. You know what I mean? Maybe my next contract, you know what I mean, when I gain a bit more status, all that jazz, I can demand a bit more money, and then I can judge that answer. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm not really in a position now where I say, oh yeah, it's shit because I'm not making this. You know what I mean? I need to get into that market. You know what I mean? I need to keep winning fights and build this streak and build this experience to get to the point where I can say, here, I'm worth this much. You know what I mean? And then these other lads here are getting paid this, and I feel I'm better than them. Blah blah blah. That's when you can have talks and stuff like that. But at the minute, I'm gonna. Obviously the UFC, you know what I mean, in terms of that stuff, that's all the UFC. I don't think Dana will ever change, you know what I mean. He's kind of keen and sticking to his ways. So obviously some are going mad about it, some are all right with it, you know what I mean. It's lots of mixed reviews, but I just think there should be a base level. When you get to a certain level, there should be a base amount where you should be getting paid, you know what I mean. I think on some people's some people think this way, and I partially agree. Where if you get most people's contracts are show win, some people would just want, like, you know what I mean, just a show. Even if it was just say it was 10-10, right?
Right.
Even if it was just 15 show and you didn't get a win, you know what I mean? So you're losing out on £5 which are guaranteed that extra five, even if you lose, you know what I mean? I think things like that could be beneficial in the long term, but that's up to Uncle Dana to decide.
I mean, for responding that you don't know, you definitely had a lot to say about it. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that. We're really big on advice for up and coming fighters and young fighters. And
Yeah.
young fighters that that's gone through, or going through what you went through, trying to get into one sport and not feeling good enough, and then trying something else. What advice would you give those sort of young people coming up, that fell into that trap, that fell into that obstacle, and that hurdle? What advice would you give to those guys?
All I'll say is, find. I think it's easier to find something that you like than you think. You know what I mean? Let's say, for example, it is mixed martial arts. I'm just going to use mixed martial arts as an example because I've done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing of like in life when you commit to something fully. You know what I mean? Once you go all in, you will see the differences and the doors it opens in your life. You know what I mean? And I think with mixed martial arts, you know what I mean, especially for young kids, I just had a different mindset as a kid. You know what I mean? I was all in training every day, as twice a day if I could. You know what I mean? Where maybe some who are kind of easing into it, if you can just train 3 times a week, your discipline or your sport, whatever it is, train 3 times a week, every week through your teenage years. And obviously when you get to like the likes of 16, 17, 18, whatever it is, when you can start making more decisions for yourself and have a better understanding of what you want as a person, that's when you can decide to go all in or not, you know what I mean? But I just think if you're going to try something new, try it. You know what I mean? Do it for a few years. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You can always find something else, you know what I mean? But to not do anything at all, you know what I mean? I think it could be a waste of good work, you know what I mean? And I just think once you commit to it, stay disciplined and work hard, like it's the same old story. Like any athlete who trains, you know what I mean, or anyone who's successful, or anyone who's done anything decent with their life, they'll always tell you that once you commit and work hard, results will come your way. You know what I mean? And I'm the prime example of that. Once you put the head down, things will start working out for you. You know what I mean? So my advice is just to find something you like. You know, no matter what friends or whatever might influence you elsewhere. You know what I mean? You know, just stick to yourself, stay true to yourself, do what you love, and work hard at it. And one day the rewards will show. You know what I mean? And it's just about believing in the process. And once you believe in the process and work hard, everything will work out. And like the results don't lie. You know what I mean? Everyone who's made it says the same things. You know what I mean? Like I haven't made it yet. You know what I mean? I'm doing good, but you know what I mean. I still have to work hard. Just like these kids will have to work hard. You know what I mean? I'm still working hard all the time. You know what I mean? So you know, it's just up to me to keep doing what I'm doing and to stay on the ball like other people should with whatever way they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Went a bit off track there, but you know what I mean. I got
No. You that was perfect, and thank you very much. It's good advice for the up and coming fighters and people that don't have the experience that you've already gained. You know, it's valuable. It's like gold dust to this up and coming fighters, man.
I
So
think one other thing is don't let losses deter your path. You know what I mean? Like that, I've lost my first 2 pro fights, and I did let it deter me path. You know what I mean? And I went downhill for a while. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Obviously, now that I'm older and wiser, I'm looking back and I'm like, that I shouldn't have reacted the way I reacted. But you know what I mean? Them losses are lessons. You know what I mean? And if you see everything as a lesson, rather than a mistake or like completely with a complete defeatist attitude, you know what I mean? You can't really grow out of that. So use your lessons and your mistakes to grow into the person who you need to grow into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm very, very conscious of the time, and thank you so much for
Man,
your time.
I can do as long as you need. You know what I mean? I'm good.
Thank you. We're here for a little while more. I wanted to ask you before we jump into other things that we got lined up. I wanted to ask you what your Are you a trash talk sort of person? What's your trash talk game like? Are you when it comes to press conferences and stuff like that, and you're building up for the fight and stuff? Are you the sort of fighter that when I get in the cage, you're gonna answer for everything you say, or you're giving it the trash talk before getting into the octagon and still backing it up performances as well?
I don't talk too much shit, you know what I mean? But the Irish personality and the Dublin kind of sense of humor, we're kind of quick witted and we're sarcastic, and we just like to take the piss. So like in generally speaking, you know what I mean? If it is shit talking that I am doing or whatever like that, it's just general piss take, you know what I mean? It's like the whole thing. If you take it to the heart, that's on you. But I'm just trying to have a bit of a laugh, you know what I mean? But I do a bit of shit talking when I have to, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, I haven't really been at press conferences or anything like that where I'd have the chance to chew to shit talk, you know what I mean? But depending on what vibe I get off the person, you know what I mean, I might throw a bit of stick. Like my last opponent was called the Welsh Khabib. That's what they named him. They only slagged him once or whatever, but I just called him. He's a Welsh kebab. You know what I mean? Just simple, stupid shit, like that. You know what I mean?
Got you.
But now, I'm wondering, maybe that's something I could improve was me trash talking game. Yeah, but I'll save it till I'm making big bucks.
Yeah, man. Look, you're a big Arsenal fan. Let's switch gears here. You're a big Arsenal fan. And
yes.
This has made my day. You have no idea. We've been through turmoil, and you said it earlier on while you were talking, about your fighting game and how Arsenal breaks your heart year on year. We got scars to show people. So many scars, and but we still love being Arsenal fans, and we love the club so much. What's been your take on where Arsenal was 2-3 years ago when Arteta took over to where they are now? And two-part question. And was there any point where you wanted a change of manager, or you've always been in to see where Arteta really, could take the club?
Yeah, well, obviously when Arteta came in, he had a big job in his hands because of all his predecessors failing. You know what I mean? So luckily, you know what I mean, we got someone who was very enthusiastic. You know what I mean? Obviously, it was going to take a bit of time for Arteta to settle in and get his vision out there, obviously. But he had to cast out a few bad seeds, bad eggs. You know what I mean? Aubameyang being one. And bit by bit build around with good energy, you know what I mean? And that's not going to something that's not going something that's going to happen overnight, obviously. So it was that instance of it taking time, and you could see gradually year by year it was slowly getting better. Obviously, we had seasons where you're questioning, like, what the fuck's going on here? You can't not even qualifying for Europa League, and stuff like that. That's discrediting and that's disheartening, you know what I mean? But when you look through that and look to where they've come from there now this season, obviously 4 wins out of 4, showing a bit of character. Bringing in high skilled players, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko. I think they're two big signings. I think Saliba back there in centre back, he's playing very well. There's a lot of promise now to be shown in the team, and I think now the likes like Martinelli having his Brazilian teammate up front of him, now all that stuff like that'll all play into their hands. So once the lads are loving their ball, everything else will fall into place. And I think Martin Odegaard is a great captain. He's playing out of his skin the last few weeks, so I think they're on the track to do something good. But then again, we're only 4 games in. We haven't really played anyone really big yet, so we'll see. I think we're playing United next, so we'll see what happens now when we face United, and see if they can keep the willpower and the confidence strong. You know what I mean? But look, it would have been a bit soon maybe to kick Arteta out straight away, but in the chance that you give him time now, we're kind of seeing the rewards from that. So hopefully they can keep it going, and hopefully the confidence doesn't drop, and they can keep the form going for as long as we need.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. At one point, I wanted him gone.
Yeah.
and this is, I mean, 2 8th place finishes in a row was not acceptable for a club our size. I've been following Arsenal
Yeah,
for
no,
over 35 years, and
that was
I've,
tough to take.
you know, it's a lot to take for fans like us, and I go when I can, and I just I love the club so much, and in my view, like one of my big uncles always say, the club is the star. No one's bigger than the club, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
not
it.
even the manager, no player, no one. And you know, with what Arteta's doing this season, is he's got my attention now, and I'm looking at what he's doing, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I had one or two misconceptions about him up until I saw that All or Nothing, and I wanted to ask you your take on that All or Nothing documentary. If it changed your perspective on the manager, the backroom staff, and some of the players, maybe that you didn't think uh really got it in them to criticize themselves and kick themselves when they're giving bad performances. But now seeing that documentary, has that changed your mind?
To be honest with you, I've only watched 2 episodes of it.
Okay.
I had it on the stick, and
Mm-hmm.
it kept crashing on me every time I was trying to watch it. So I just said I'd wait till I could get them all up on one thing, and I'll just watch them. That's the way I am. I'll just watch them continuously, one after another, and watch
Story of
all
the
the
life of an
episodes.
Arsenal fan, isn't it?
Yeah, but now, like, from what I've seen, if I liked what I saw. I like the whole background stuff. You know what I mean? I like looking into what goes on behind the closed doors when you're not on a Sky Sports camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually watched all the other all or nothings as well, with like the
Yeah.
Sports City and all them ones. So I kind of got an insight to what went on in the background. So it was intriguing then to see what went on in the Arsenal one. I think Arteta is a mad thing. If you ask me, I think he's a bit mad, but I think to do the job that they're doing, you kind of need to have to, when you're hunting for that level of success. You know what I mean? You kind of need to be a bit crazy. Same with our sport. You know what I mean? You kind of need to be a bit mad to do what we do, but I kind of liked what I saw. Yeah. Obviously, I've learned more about the players.
Yeah.
What characters are positive, which ones come off negative.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not picking on him, but Aubameyang was, even not like, before I watched this documentary, before he left, he was pissing me off a bit. You know what I mean? Because of his attitude, and the fact that he was the captain, and he was just, you know, he was an irresponsible captain, I'd say, and it's not someone who should be leading from the top down. So I was glad that they made that change. But yeah, I've still yet to finish it, so I'll get back to you with an opinion on it when I get it all finished, and we can have a good discussion as to Arsenal fans.
Hopefully down the line, you know, we can definitely bring you back on the channel and, you know, talk a lot more about Arsenal, talk about, you know, breaking down some cards and stuff like that. So
100%.
yeah, that'll be interesting to do with you. Eddie Nketiah, he got the number 14 shirt.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it when you first heard about it, and you know, how are you feeling about him and his role in the team now?
Yeah, I was actually happy for him, because, you know what I mean, he's a young lad, he has something to prove. Obviously, Henry was 14, you throw him to 14 short, so he has a lot of status to live up there, you know what I mean? So I think sometimes with young lads, the likes of Nketiah and stuff like that, you give them that responsibility, and they'll either get lost with it or they'll run with it. And I think he's in the position now where he wants to live up to that hype and run with it. So I'm glad that he's given that kind of responsibility. Obviously, he's not the main force choice, but he's been given a fair reflection of himself the last while. You know what I mean? He scores goals when he has to. He pops up when he kind of has to. So I like him. I always liked him. Even when he went on loan, when he came back from loan, he was still on fire.
Yeah.
So he was on loan when he was on fire when he was on loan, and when he came back, he was performing very well. He got some important goals for us. So I like where he's going, and hopefully he can be a big part to play in the club's future.
Yeah, fantastic. What would you like to see before the window closes? What positions?
Transfer window.
Before the transfer window closes. What would you like the club to do? What would you like to see them do before the window shuts?
Maybe get another holding midfielder. I think just a bit of extra reinforcement. Xhaka is he can be hot and cold. There's issues with Partey, obviously. You know what I mean? So I think just a little bit of backup there and a bit of reassurance. I think our attacking line is good. It's going to be hard to bring in someone who's going to change much that you're not going to spend millions on. You know what I mean? Too much money. But yeah, it's certainly a holding midfielder, and I don't know which. I think it's for now holding midfielder. We'll suss out something in the summer. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see how we get through after January. You know what I mean? But for now, just a backup holding midfielder. I'd like there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree with you, because I feel like there's a big drop when we don't have Partey and El Nene is the next guy.
Yeah.
To there's just that big drop in quality from Partey to El Nene and Lokonga as well.
Yeah, and then they can do a job on his day, but you know what I mean. You just want someone with just a bit more quality. You know what I mean? Just not asking for too much, but just someone who you could start. You know what I mean? Not someone who you're going to be subbing and bringing someone on for. You know what I mean? But I'd like a solid centre holding or centre midfield, holding midfielder, just to give that bit of assurance to Odegaard for whenever the lads are either out or else someone who can replace them. But it's a tricky one. It's a holding midfielders. They're hard to come by, and decent ones as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, everybody's talking about Yuri Tillemans, but I'm more leaning towards his partner Wilfred Ndidi. I think he can definitely,
Ndidi is solid. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he can definitely do a job in that space. I'm just gonna pick out three cards. Oh yeah, before we move on from that, where do you think Arsenal will finish this season? And second part, what would be an acceptable season for you in terms of where we finish, what we achieve, and stuff like that?
I hate to get ahead of myself, but I think they look like they could get top four. You know what I mean? I think they've took on board the mistakes they made last season and the season before. So you know what I mean? Hopefully they took that on board and they have the desire, the passion, and the fight in them to make sure that they get top four. Obviously injuries and stuff like that are going to come in down the line, so it's just about how you deal with them. But I'd like to see top four. I'm going to be hopeful and say top four, and I'll be gutted if they finish anywhere past sixth, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they're finishing like outside that, you're out for 5th even. You know what I mean? I go as far as saying fifth is minimum I'll take, but you know what I mean? I think top four, it's up to them to perform, and it's up to them to stay on the ball. I think top four could be a good shout this year.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'd say fifth if we win the Europa League. We have to win the Europa League for me to accept fifth. You know.
Yeah.
But top four definitely is something that we definitely should be looking.
I think, and you need to be aiming, if you're a player, you need to be aiming for that top four spot. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? You know what I mean? Obviously, you were maybe a bit off from winning the league, but obviously, because they were Leicester on it as well and could fucking shock everyone. But for now, you need to be aiming for that top four slot. You're getting that Champions League because you finished 8th the last 2 seasons and didn't really win anything of significance. You need to come in and prove yourself now and show that you can challenge for Europe.
Sick. As we draw to the end of the show, I wanted to thank Eric's Gear for pointing us to you. He pointed us in your direction, and salute to Eric's Gear. He's a top man.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
He looks after us, and top man.
He's a legend. Shout out to Eric's Gear.
And what do you have coming up? And do you have a merch, upcoming fight? Plug what the floor's yours. Plug whatever you have coming up.
Yeah, so at the minute I don't have anything coming up. I just have a slight thumb injury, so I'm waiting to see if this needs surgery or not. So it won't be anything big. I'll just be out for like a few weeks and then get back to training. So at the minute I'm just chilling, tapping away at my training, not doing too much. I'm looking to actually get some merch produced in the near future. So do some kind of custom Nathan Kelly style stuff and build the brand up a bit more and stuff like that. So I have a few ideas in my head that I'm thinking about. So that'll come in future time. I'm sure I'll be posting it all over social media. So when it does
we'll
come
be
out.
there
Hopefully,
helping you put repost that and pushing that for you as well
legend, bro.
whenever
Yeah.
you're ready.
So there's so many ideas I have. You know what I mean. Until then, until I fight in PFL again, I think I'll probably stay active with like jiu-jitsu competitions and stuff like that, just to keep some sort of competitive drive in me. And get used to the nerves and all that stuff of combat and fighting on a day and all that stuff like that. So stay busy with jiu-jitsu, look to open, get some merch going, and yeah, just stay active, stay training, and not get too much of a fat belly until I'm back in the cage. That's basically it.
Well, I call that quarantine belly, man. I mean, the pandemic had
Uh,
people all people of
it
all
was the
sorts out of
beer
shape.
for me. I was drinking beer all the time and then eating whatever I wanted, doing no exercise, and it went downhill very quick. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God. Thank you very much for your time. You've been fantastic. And hopefully, like we said, down the line we can bring you back and maybe even talk about Arsenal, talk about football, talk about, break down cards and stuff like that. You have so much insight into the fight game, and your knowledge is, invaluable to our viewers. So we really, really appreciate your time for coming through today. This has been another exclusive with a brilliant fighter, Nathan Kelly. Thank you very much. Please go and check him out on all his social, on Insta, on Twitter. It's over there. And yeah, until we come up with the next video, hasta la vista. Salute, people.
See you later.
Yo, guys, this is Adrian Yanez telling you to use those handles. Hit, click, like, and subscribe. Fuck yeah, dudes. If y'all don't do it, man, fucking catch the hands, bro.